What to do, what to do, what to do, what. Ooh, yeah. Alrighty. Hey, everyone. How's it all going? I see we've got a lot of people here tonight already. Haircut, beard trim? No, just pulled my hair back. How can the stream have a thumbs down? You gotta be kidding me, Travis. Must be those dedicated personnel spending their time to make sure that they don't miss an opportunity to express their displeasure of something I've done in the past. Or nothing, in fact. Oh well. That's up to them. Okay. We've got a 1707 here, and it's basically got a torn power button, which is why the thing wouldn't turn on. You'd have to plug in the USB-C, unplug the USB-C, plug it back in, and then it would sometimes start. So I've just been waiting on some replacement parts to arrive. Hey Wayne, solder. That's okay. You gotta have your dedicated crew sometimes that are like that. People who go above and beyond to make sure that they can express themselves. Okay. Now the 1707, this particular model, is a real pain in the posterior to actually do, because it's awfully easy to get the cables snagged and torn. Okay, close that up. And I'm really hoping this is going to fix it, because if it doesn't, that's going to be quite a bit of drama. Hey Ed. No, my face is not frozen. Hey Richard Bicker. No magic tricks going on at the moment. This is one of those annoying type of repairs where it ends up being far more than just one or even two little things. It turns out to be a whole suite of things that you have to fix up. And you sort of, once you get started, you kind of have to commit yourself to finish it, because otherwise you're not going to get any money. So I guess that falls into the sunk cost fallacy, I suppose, but, well, I want a chance of getting my money back. Where did I put that precious flex? There's that one. Being without internet. Wow, that's brutal. Thumbs down because I didn't offer toilet paper. That's probably quite true. I have to decide whether I want to... So I think I'll definitely screw this in before I try and meddle around with the flexes. The design they've got for this particular one, a lot of stress gets... when you're messing around, a lot of stress gets developed in this junction here between the one going to the button and the board. Okay, what are you? I think your T4 should do the trick for this one. T4. Hey Greg. And today I was a little bit naughty. As most of you know, I have been saving up for my home loan and things like that. And I'm just going to knock this camera off angle a bit. So you just see the back of my hand a bit. But the grass and everything else is getting just way out of hand, and my whippersnipper, or weed whacker as you guys call it in some other places, has just been dying on me. It's like it barely runs for 10 minutes now, and it's a good unit. It's a Honda 425, but it's old, and I probably haven't been the best owner of it. Kind of abused it probably. Anyway, it needs replacing. So I went out and ordered myself a replacement unit, but it's a Victor 82 volt unit. So it's an electric, and hopefully that should serve me well. And the 18-inch mower, also 82 volt. But yeah, it was a bit of an investment, but hopefully it should pay off. I mean, for a start, there's no fuel costs, and electricity is cheap, particularly once I get solar panels on the place. Then it'll be free electricity effectively after 10 years. Actually, mind you, the rate that I consume electricity here, it'd be within 12 months I would have paid out the cost of the installation. We will use pretty much every single kilowatt hour that's generated. Hey, you user. Weighing the price together, the two units were just under $1,000 Australian, and that was with battery packs and chargers. The nice thing is the mower is a steel deck on it. It's not just a plate. It's not a cheap plastic deck. So it's basically like a normal petrol powered mower, but electric powered. And if that goes well, then I'll probably also get the 21-inch version. Okay. For the life of me, I actually don't know how the original flex got torn. I genuinely do not know. I don't know whether it was me, because I don't remember any sort of tension on it when I was taking it out, but yeah. Hey Crazy J and Paul. The biggest system I can put here and be connected to the grid is 6.5 kilowatt hour. 6.5 kilowatts, sorry. And we probably get about 5 to 6 usable hours of sun. So 36 kilowatt hour a day. So it's pretty good going. And my typical consumption around here is 40 plus kilowatt hour a day. Sometimes more, depends on which air conditioner is running. Okay, that's locked in. Pull this captain tape away. So, and because I work at home, it's not like the generation during the peak part of the day is going to waste. I'll be most certainly using that on air conditioning. Or charging up my mower and the whippersnipper. The only thing that worries me is battery availability after time. Yeah, that can be a bit of an issue. The reason why I went with the 82 volt, it's a Briggs and Stratton system, so that gives it half a chance of being long life. And by the looks of it, it's just a long string of what do you call it? It's a long string of standard cells in there. So the battery enclosure itself can be repacked. So I'm sort of, it was a concern, yes, but it looks like the assemblies are made for be able to be repacked. It was certainly quite close to being able to. Okay, well it's clicking, so that's a start. I've got a few spare free screws in there, but I think they're for the fan actually. Now I'm going to put the board in, see if this boots with the power button. And if it doesn't, then basically I'm sort of going to have to send it back to him and say, well, we tried everything we could, but in the end it didn't want to. So now my concern is that those buttons are for Touch ID as well. Obviously we're not going to be able to use the Touch ID on this because it's been changed. But hopefully it'll be like iPhone 6s and such, where even though you can't get the Touch ID, you can at least still use it. I've also got a dead USB port, but I've got a replacement of that. Yeah, so that's not a problem. Ah. 18650s. Thank you very much, Wayne. That is what I was trying to come up with. The brain just wasn't going to go that way. But yes, the 18650s is what it looks like, a long chain of those. Always snag the delicate flex under there. For this test I do actually have to put the battery on. Otherwise it's going to auto start. I mean, I suppose, yeah, actually no, let it auto start and then see if I can just turn it off with the button. That's an idea. It's using your noggin. Coming up. Yeah. Let's put a couple of screws into... What is going on here? If we're going on about the coronavirus limitations of gatherings now, they did at least let the football game go on. Not that I care about football, but it was the inaugural game. Inaugural? It was the first game to be held at the new stadium. Although there was a musical concert there last week, and that was with Elton John. Okay, so that's good. Just plugged in. Got 20 volts coming up, so I better put the privacy filter on. Yeah, I saw the Formula 1 was cancelled for the Australian. That's a bit of a blow. Honestly, I think though a lot of major organisations, corporations and events are kind of secretly pleased in some ways that they're getting to be able to cancel a year or a season. It's like it's going to be a holiday for them all. Nice and quiet, no dramas, and they've got a valid excuse. It's like the coronavirus. Hey, Warren Stamps. Okay, I do have... It's very dim though, probably because I covered up. There we go. Well, at least know that sensor works. Now let's see if it turns off. It would appear it's not turning off. I know that it definitely functions as a turn off because if I short out the on-off buttons, pads on the circuit board, it will work. So what's going on? Why is it not transmitting through? That's slightly annoying. And I do have continuity. Get shut down. Very worst case scenario, I could always just take the contacts on the push button, run 2 very fine wires up into the motherboard itself. But that's a hell of a nasty hack job. So I'm really not sure why it's not. Maybe it's the intermediate flex between the button and the board, because it's definitely not firing up. I didn't get any more ice cream. There's no room in the freezer at the moment, so we have to eat our way through the freezer first. Hey, rescue. Hey, Max. So this button made no difference at all. So all I can guess is either... yeah, I really don't know. As I said, if I short out the pins on the board, it fires up. I guess I'll test the flex. Hey, Sutter Bridge. Shotgun shells. We don't have things like guns here in Australia. We can get bow and arrow. You're even allowed to have a compound bow here. But you do have to declare that you have it. You can't just have it. But if you have a standard bow, then you don't have to declare anything. You can have them in your house and there's no reporting required. Which is somewhat funny because they'll allow that, but they will not allow you to have anything like an airsoft rifle or anything like that. So it's funny standards. And transfer. Not that an airsoft rifle would do anything, but it's just more a case of, in terms of entertainment, if you ever happen to want to partake in airsoft tournaments or anything like that, well, you can't. Because as far as the laws are concerned, that's a firearm. But you can have a bow and arrow, no problems there. So my best guess is that this flex here maybe has something wrong with it. So we'll take that out, hopefully not cause any tearing. There is corrosion on the connector, but I thought that was cleared away. Just tack down our Captain tape again. Try to lift that up. In New South Wales, need a permit for a bow now. Oh, great. Oh, why haven't I put this table in that I want here? What? Completely wrong. What are you talking about? You can't just own any sort of rifle around here. You gotta show cause for why you need one, or be in a club and all that. You can't just own them. You certainly almost cannot get a semi-auto. You sure you're thinking of Australia? What the? I might just reflow that. Hey, Steve K. Anyway, weapons discussions seem to bring out the worst in people. So I need to find out how to make this sit down. Oh, need something thinner than that. You're in South Australia and you get away with that? You sure you have checked on things since '96? Because I used to have a 22 bolt action and I had to surrender that. Because I could no longer really say, well, I need it for anything. Unless I decided to pay big bucks and go be part of a gun club. I gotta sneeze. That pin there looks a little messed up. If I'm lucky, maybe that's what's at fault. If I'm lucky. Oh, crikey. Stop your whinging. Richard, actually interesting you should mention about the Australian dollar tanking out. I am actually all for it. Because I sell my software in US dollars. So by the Australian dollar tanking out, it's actually a great advantage to me. And because I tend to hold those US dollars offshore for a while, and waiting for the moment to be right, then with the Australian dollar heading towards 50 cents, it'd be awfully nice. I basically greatly increase the effective worth of my bank account, especially if I'm using it to not buy to buy domestic type products like property and whatnot. Hey Warren, fortunately though, the Australian dollar tends to always tank faster than the US dollar. I mean, at the moment it's gone, we're about 67, 68 at the start of the year. Now we're down to 62, so it's working in my favour. The Australian dollar almost always tanks faster than the US in most circumstances. I mean, admittingly, we did have the moments where the Australian dollar was worth more than the US dollar a few years ago, but that's still pretty rare stuff. Hey, Andrew Hughes. I still remember the last time it was the Australian dollar was worth 50 cents US, and at that time I was doing a lot of coding work for someone in the US, and I was getting paid in US dollars, and that was quite a nice life for a bit there. I'm going to see if I can find that dead pin on the split connector on the other side. So see if I can hold my probe there. Oh, you bugger, you're on the other side. Oh, that's it, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, maybe I'll double tape it. Maybe I'll just test it. Yeah, well, I guess that's what I was saying before, Wayne, that for if I'm using the US, if I hold the US dollars and use them, well, I still win. I either come out even, because then I can use the US dollars to buy equipment that is still in US dollars, or I can come out ahead if I'm buying stuff that is being sold in Australian dollars and still retains the old price tag. Because it's usually a few months before the market reacts for a lot of the other stuff that I buy. And like I said, if I'm buying property, the local property values don't tend to jump up just because the US dollar tanks. And that's the plan here, is that with the US, not the US dollar, the Australian dollar, if the Australian dollar drops out relative to the US, then I can really bring those dollars in, and it makes it much easier for me to then buy a piece of land. Alright, see if that's fixed up now. I've got a plan. I've been planning this for years, which means it'll probably go wrong. Hey 3X. Hey Mike. I'm not using land to store my value as an investment. I just want land, as in the property, to live in. Wait, I've got to put this cable in. You people are distracting me. Hey Lars. Yes, Wayne, I am actually. The only trouble is, though, that because this place is not new, yeah, it's not a new place, and a few other criterion, so I won't really get much of an advantage. And the other trouble I'm facing is that the local banks, or the banks, have basically blacklisted this region. So as soon as they see the postcode come up for where I am, where I want to buy the house, the banks just start frothing in the mouth and die. So even though the first home owner's grant thing would let me get away with, say, a 5% deposit, the local banks will not let me, or the banks will not allow me to purchase local property for probably anything less than 30% down. Now, I don't know how I can work that out to take advantage of a home loan, the first homeowner's grant thing. It would be nice if somehow we could get that extra contribution, but then also say, well, look, we've got another 25% that we can add on top. But I have a feeling they're just going to go, oh no, you've got a decent enough deposit, you don't need the grant. So I have a feeling that I'm going to get duped either way. Richard Bickett, the problem is that in this area, because it is predominantly a mining and cattle type area. And because of the lack of jobs, new investments and things like that, there's been a lot of people who have forfeited. And so due to the excessive forfeits, the banks basically have said, well, we're not trusting anyone around here. And what sucks is that I can't plead my case and say, well, look, I am not actually in the mining. I mean, yeah, sure, a lot of my customers are. But, I personally am not directly in the mining or the cattle. Most of my jobs come from outside of this town. But it's getting difficult. You can't go to the people submitting the loan anymore and say, this is the situation, because there are probably too many complaints about nepotism or favoritism or whatever with the local branch managers. And so the head branches took away the power of the local branches to make a decision on the loan or to be able to even influence it. So effectively the local branch managers are little more than data collectors or form fillers to send down south. And then of course south just goes over it with their mindless drone approach, and they see the postcode and they sort of go, does not apply, cannot apply, goodbye. So I'm sort of like caught in a bit of a catch-22, well maybe not catch-22, but I'm caught in a bit of a tricky spot there. And it's very frustrating. Yeah, boom cycle bust. It's usually hasn't been so severe in this region because this is a very long, stable region, but I think just simply when the Australian dollar got too strong, it caused a lot of jobs to be lost in the mining industry because the overheads start to dominate, put too much pressure on the price of whatever they're digging out. Alright, fingers crossed this one works. Somehow I think I'm not going to be so lucky, but you never know. Hey Pernov, yeah, 17. So it's not one of my favourite computers. I really do not find them all that nice to work on. Riston, UK. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I've been with this bank for about the same, actually, around about 30 plus years. Okay, so we are restoring here. Very frustrating. Yeah, that's right, Wayne. That's all they do care about. Which is why, if I can go to them with a 30% down, they'll probably be okay, because they sort of figure, well, at 30%, there's no mortgage broker's insurance or anything like that, and you can pretty much have a fire sale at 30% and get away with it. Oh, this just says user 1. I don't need to protect this. Damn, this is frustrating. Why doesn't it transmit the signal? Extraordinarily frustrating. Yes, Wayne, that is correct. But the plan is, we basically take it, because it's such a big place. We're going to acquire it, and then, they move into a place that's more suitable for what their situation is currently. I mean, it's hard enough for me to maintain this property at the times. This is really start spitting chips here. Hey, Peter Huber and Tony McPunts, AMD. You need to tell the bank you don't know who I am. The world famous. Ha! Yeah. Yeah, if only that worked. That's probably what got the banks in half their trouble in the first place. I think one of the big problems in the past has been that banks basically only look at where you've gone wrong in your life. They've never really been strong on saying, well, you spent 30 years doing everything right and you had no defaults or anything like that, but you did have this one time where you forgot to make a payment and therefore you are now invalid. Now, I do believe that the Royal Commission or something decided that they had to start looking at the good stuff too. Banks probably hate that. Banks hate being told what to do. Okay, I'm going to try and find out what pins, I'm pretty sure that pin is it, but what pins are the button, and then see if I can, well, man, this is going to be too delicate. I don't think it's mechanical stress. I can feel that it is clicking through just fine. I'm just going to open it up. Just rest it on the edge like a crazy man. See if I can get to the button. Okay, I can get to the button, but I can't get the microscope that far over. Damn it. How about there? Get to the button. I can. Microscope. I can. Captain tape, maybe. Well, this is a brand new switch, that's the thing. It's a brand new switch, so all I'm thinking, at best, it might be this, ew, that's covered in junk. It might be the flex cable that's between the switch and the motherboard. But hilariously, I cannot source another one of those. I looked around, but other than taking one from another 1707, I don't have high hopes. I may have to remove the switch. I suspect maybe there's a corroded line somewhere. The other alternative I can take is if I solder directly from the push button switch, and yeah, if I solder directly from the push button switch onto this flex here, and then I can plug into the main board. I'm just gonna check a couple of things. No. Okay. Just trying to find a reasonable ground point to work from. Unfortunately, I don't have 6 hands today. Oh, come on, give me a ground point I can use. Unfortunately, we do not have a USB-C chipmunk. That's what Harold needs to make next. USB-C version of the chipmunk. Okay, that's working, that's good. Okay. Okay, that's working. I'm pushing on that button and that line shorts out, so that is definitely working. So there's nothing wrong with the button. Can you check this channel for band lists for Stellar Mosaic or email Stellaris? I do not know how to even do that. Someone want to tell me how to do that? Let's see. Manage. No, I can manage the moderators, and that's about it. YouTube, how to show list of banned people. Hey Jimbo. How do I view blocked users on YouTube? Once you're signed in, click username, inbox, address book. Okay, let's see if I can find this without destroying my work. Oh, I ban people, believe me, I ban people. People put up stupid comments and I just gotta go, yeah, you're out of here. Ah, lovely, there's no inbox. It's always great when you've got how-to guides that refer to... Gonzalo, I did get to see that. I just haven't had a chance to get to anything else at the moment, I'm sorry. Reply. I did see it. Where's my damn inbox? Stupid. Nope, got plenty of people whinging about being banned. How can I see who blocked? How can I unblock someone? Try that. Same stupid link keeps coming up. Okay, looks like comment management. Hidden users. Okay, looks like we found some. The only trouble is they are all... Okay, what am I looking for? Stellar Mosaic. Do you remember what the name of it was? Okay, you're right. Stellar Mosaic is on the banned list. So is Robert King. Funny that. Try now. Try now, Nick. Man. I've only got about 50 or 60 people on that list. That's not too bad. I got more mods than I have banned people. So that's pretty good of me. Keith, yes, I would consider using credit unions. Now I've got to work out what's going on here. If I'm getting that signal, and when I say signal, basically it's just the button pulling the line down. So let's see, that was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's this one here. And as far as I recall, it should short out that cap there. So we'll check see if we've got continuity there. Maybe the trace is blown internally. What's currently the interest? Around about 6 or 7% in terms of banks. Okay, we do not have a connection there, so yeah, let's check on the board view to be sure. Shift this up. I think it's a 281 board. I don't know, I don't care. I suppose I should care, but it's similar enough anyway. Okay, I'm fairly sure. Yeah, menu key. Oh, I was looking at the wrong two. So it should be those upper two. You watch, there's probably going to be continuity there. And all my hopes and dreams will now just die. Bastard. That's funny because I know I can switch on this board if I short out those pins. Hey, what are you shorted for? R4911. Oh, you are 0. Okay. Yeah, so now I am genuinely confused. Because that, you probably can't see it in there. Did I get the right one? It's the menu key one. So it's that pin there. We know that that does indeed get pulled down. So what I'll do is I'll test now from the actual contact in there. What do you know? And test here. Still nothing because I am an idiot and put it onto ohms mode. Talk about giving myself false hope. Ah, it really is. Okay. So it looks like this pin here has actually broken. Peter, yeah, I mean, look, the place I'm looking at here is going to be about, let's say 180. Okay, 180 Australian. And so it's not a massive amount by any means. But it is still a fair, if I want to go 30%, you know, that's 36,000. No, that's not 36,000. I'm basically going to need about 50, close to 60. And I can get there, but the trouble is, I don't know if I can get there fast enough. Whereas if this was a normal, typical postcode, then I should have no trouble with 20% or even 15%. But 20% is nice. The reason why 20% is nice is because at that point you don't have to have mortgage insurance anymore. And that does make things a little easier. Less legalities involved, all that sort of crap. Obviously I'd like to be able to work on this board in the chassis, but we're not going to do that. Hey, nuts and proud. Yeah, weighing around here, there are places going for around about 50,000. There's a property next to me. The house is absolutely atrocious, but it's selling for around about 70. And it's got a decent piece of land size, but the house will actually have to be removed and destroyed or whatever. And it's probably got asbestos, so it will need to be handled properly. But the point is, though, that yeah, the house has sewage, power, water, internet, very good internet, at least relatively. And for 80,000, so you get rid of the house, you put a little kit home on it or something like that, and probably for about maybe 120, you've got yourself a nice retreat. We've got to find out what's going on with this one. Now it's a bit tricky. I don't know. Maybe I can. Yeah, you see when I touch it, it moves the pin back and forth, whereas the others it does not. So the first method we'll try is to scratch that bit of pad there, see if we can get that to come up shiny, and then we will put some solder paste down there and heat it. Some audio lag. Of course there's audio lag. That should be better. And now I've got to sneeze. Damn it, shouldn't have touched my nose. This is the downside of this particular pull down line technique for switches, is that often they tie them, they don't have a current limit resistor on the switch, and so what happens is if you get a bit of shorting or whatever, or a bit of junk, then you've got basically the full rail ready to dump into it. Whereas if you did something like just put a 1k resistor on from the rail to the switch, then if things did go wrong, you wouldn't get this corrosion eat out effect. But it does mean that's an extra resistor to put in, so and that costs money, a whole 1/100th of a cent. But I think more often than not, it's not the money factor, it's the fact that you have to do all the routing and you've got to put a part in and stuff like that. Try to replace the faulty pin? No, no thanks. I'm just going to try and re-establish contact with it. It's a little mucky at first. Just put some flux down. Richard Bicker, it's because of the corrosive effect of the high current line when liquid gets on here, because this was liquid damaged. And so it just eats it away. What's going on there? Okay, let's see if this rocks back and forth. Are you going to rock my world? Yep, still rocking back and forth, so we haven't really made proper contact there. We'll try again. We'll try with a bit of actual solder. I don't really want to put hot air on it just yet. Just seeing if I can cook my way into it. Yeah. Seems a little more secure now. Yep. That's nice and secure now. Alright, so now we should actually have success when we try and use this. Clean out the flux. Hey Quito. Well, the contact itself doesn't really have a lot of current. Now, if you look at the board view and the schematic, let's go switch back to it and I'll talk about what I mean. No, program. Okay. So basically, we've got menu key here, and really that is being fed, although you don't see it, but that's probably being fed by, see, 4900. I doubt it'd be the 16 volt. It's probably the 1V8 or something like that. But the point is, the switch just sits over here as the contacts, and as soon as that gets corroded and there's a path to ground here, then this here sees a bit. It just chews it away. I can't explain it properly here at the moment because it's not what I was trying to. Damn it. Alright, ignore me. Anyway, the point is, if they put a current limit resistor on it, it would cause less dramas. Because most of the time when you do these sort of pull down switches, you're internally pulling them up with a resistor up to the rail, but there's nothing to say that the rail can't be fed by a high current thing. Yeah, it's electrolysis. You don't actually need a lot of voltage for electrolysis. I mean, you think about it, the electrolysis of aluminium or whatever, I think is like 1.2 volts or something ridiculously low. I can't remember. Anyway, it happens, it eats it. It can be avoided, but it just means more parts. And given that it shouldn't really be in their design parameters to handle liquid damage, because after all, it's not meant to be a liquid immersed laptop. They say, well, not our fault if you get liquid on it. Stupid question, but do you have a full-time job besides MacBook repair and software engineering? They are my full-time jobs, yes. Not a stupid question. Do I seem like I'm a bit of a part-timer? That's more the question I'm interested in. Fine, don't go down. I mean, obviously I've fixed general things as well, like iPhone screens and people's PC problems. I gotta admit, I try to avoid the PC problems. PC problems usually are just a nightmare. Yeah, it's somebody pressing the wrong key somewhere, somehow, accidentally deleting their database every 3 months. Maybe it's just the users that I don't like. I shouldn't say I don't like it, it's just I don't have a high tolerance for anymore. So today I came, you got the quick, another power plug, replaced it, holding on by one wire. Did you get an original one or did you get a fake? Compare it to the one that Dave Jones tore down, that Lewis Rossman sent. Because I know there's a lot of fake quicks out there. Great, now that I want to do this, I can't seem to get the connector to sit in. Finally. Alright, moments of truth. Behind BTKM, is that behind the keyboard or mouse? Oh wait, we don't care about this because it's just user one. Here we go. Come on, hurry it up. There we go. Let's see, come on, power switch, do your magic. Why you no do magic? Come on. Yes, you did. So who would have thought I'd get excited about something getting off? Let's turn that on again. Are you going to turn on? Yep, you are. Wow, you actually did a proper deep sleep. No worries. Hey, John White. Yeah, I wouldn't say this is easy money. This one's been harassing me for quite some time. So yeah, definitely not. Hey, that was a screen flicker then. I hope this does not suffer FlexGate or anything. I don't know which models have got FlexGate. I could have sworn I saw the screen flicker. And looks like Nicolia is back with his advertisement-free account. Okay, let's try to turn this back on again. Yep, that's definitely working now. Yeah, unfortunately, we just don't have Touch ID. Yeah, because that flex is definitely torn. Unless someone knows how to fix these, but that's something like 20 or 30 wires. No thanks. So it was a very subtle flicker, but it was certainly there. Yeah, Steve K has very little time outside of work on the best of days. Alright, well I'm going to consider that fixed. I'm not really in the mood to genuinely put this all back together right now. I do have to put that replacement in. This thing has now got... I don't know, it's only just the two. I'm just happy it's working. That was a big problem. It's been sitting around this workshop for quite a while. So it looks like I ended up having two issues on that one. The torn flex and the etched out thing, but the torn flex could have been me. I hope it wasn't, but it could have been. Let's see. What have I got here? 4268. Alrighty. I'm just going to shut this down before I bring it over. This one seems to be suffering performance issues, fail-safe problem or something like that. Looks like it's taken a couple of hits to the head. Just down here. Have you used DT880 yet? DT880. What was the DT880? Oh, yeah, this... Yes, I have. Yeah, this is the DT880, isn't it? Yes, it is, yeah. I have been using that. That helped me fix up a iPhone 8 that had a shorted cap on it the other day. Richard, you're talking about replacing the VRMs on that 1398 boards. It's... You have to be a little bit careful, but it's not truly hairy. It's... I would put it to be no worse than making sure you don't burn out... make sure you don't overheat the board on an iPhone 7 audio job and end up with no service. Around about that sort of level. Maybe not even that bad. What's going on? I need a fatter one. Oh, there it is. Hey, Jack. Come on. I hate getting these off. Okay, so if we've got sensor damage or going slow, things like that, we should be looking for things like liquid damage maybe. Out of focus on everything. I might just switch this over. What the? Alright, I know what's happened to this. Okay, someone's been in here before me. And they've jammed. Oh, they've really fecked this one up bad too. They have pushed the spudger in too far. And basically just knocked the hell out of all these parts here. So you notice when I was going with the spudger, I've been pretty careful. Like I stick my thumb against the edge to stop exactly this sort of thing. So to get that sort of damage, you'd have to be pushing the spudger in, that far. So, that's in around that sort of distance. A good, let's call it 3/4 of an inch. And so that's what's happened. Now the reason why I'm crying about this is because they've basically taken off every frickin' pad. This is going to be a suckful rebuild. But hey, it makes it fun, right? God damn it. Yeah, but that's what's caused it. The question is, what did it go in for originally? Now this is going to be the other problem. Did this cause the problem? Or did they do this while looking for the problem? And if they have, then I've still got to solve the problem. So I'm kind of half expecting to find those parts floating around, but they could have also fallen out by now. I don't get too many of these ones, and I've never had one this bad. Oh well, let's take the board out. I think it was one of the first sort of series of problems that Lewis and Paul encountered, was this knocking off of parts from the edge. That's pretty brutal. Yeah, Netflix, it wouldn't be so bad except for the fact that you've got a couple of veer-only connections there. And it's just a bit fiddly. Hopefully I can just simply rebuild the pads over those veers and drop down the new part. I kind of wonder whether it's going to be a little bit torturous to me and decide, nah, you can't have an easy life like that. Wow, they butchered that too. Man, they really went in deep and long on this. Holy smackaroonies. Yeah, they got serious. Damn. No, that's effed up nicely. I mean, I get it, yeah, these things can happen. But I do wonder how much force is required in order to be able to dislodge all of that stuff and not feel it. I guess maybe they were trying to feel for the lock pop. So, which of course is right here. So that's what you're feeling to try and detach there. But if you take it that extra ½ inch, then you break it. Metal spudger, quite possibly. It certainly looks like they did a nice clean job. But like I said, I'm kind of curious to see whether the parts are lying around here somewhere. Actually, I should be able to tell. Metal spudger would normally leave a grooving there. There's a little bit of grooving in just here, so it's plausible. I'll have to now consult with the client and say, did you ever have it taken to some other place for a different issue? And that's when it came back all dodgy. It'd be sad if it turns out there's just a little spot of corrosion on one of the sensors for the SMC or something like that. And then we've got all this damage because of that. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, actually, what the hell have I got here? How did they do this? Man, some real butchers at work here. Look at this. Nice one, guys. How? How did you manage to knock that off like that? And you want to find out who was handling this, because then you're going to make sure that you try to get them out of this business, because, yeah, sure, okay, their dud work does give me some business here, but what would have been better is if the person had originally, if you didn't have to deal with the extra faults, because for every extra fault that you deal with, you're usually getting a reduced return on investment in terms of your time, experience, and risk taking. Yeah, I think I'm just Mr. Cranky Pants today. Scratch the back of the eye, at least I'm not spraying alcohol in my face tonight. That was really stupid last night. Rescue, yes, we found the fault. It was basically an etched away or eroded away pin on the underside on the motherboard where the button signal came in. And so we just sort of scratched it back a bit and then dropped in some solder paste, reheated it, got the connection re-established, and that was good again. All hunky-dory. It's not a comedy club, Gecko. Look around, see what you've missed, see what you're going to yank and break, and then try. There. I got so distracted by that pogo pin being broken off that I didn't fix up that other thing. Okay. Well, you don't even need the soldering iron. You just got to learn to push it a little harder. The soldering iron is just there as a placebo. Make you think you're actually sticking it down, but really, the truth is, you've just got to push it harder. Soldering iron is a placebo. Okay, so let's see if we can find anything that isn't physical damage caused by some body. Yeah, so we've got a little bit of corrosion damage there. That's obviously not enough to cause any issues, but it does mean something's been in and about. And there's our lovely little weirdly orientated cap. What board's this? There's a little bit of junk. Yeah, it's not enough though. So 239. Wow. The board's essentially okay. And you can see the environment that it's been working in is a little bit humid and salty. I want to know where those parts went. This may actually be repairable, because basically this here is a retaining pin for physical hold down. So I might be able to just gently bend them back and tack it down. I might just try to do that right now. Yeah, I'm not going to use any flux or anything like that. This is my $20 Weller iron, and I'm going to just press real hard on it. And then it's going to do 60 frames per second in crisis. Oh, look at that. It didn't move. Perfect. Fixed. Beautiful. You know I'm going to fix that up properly, but... you can sort of tell I'm old with games because I was referring to Crisis, whereas probably there's a new standard reference for difficult games now. Maybe Minecraft. Nothing much I can do about this. This basically has to just get cut off. It's not crucial, it's just sort of a bit of a stabilizing pogo pin. I could probably epoxy it down, but I can tell you it's going to cause me more dramas than not, because no matter how good I epoxy it, it's probably just going to come off again. And as it is, the pogo is bent. That would have taken quite a bit of force to deform it like that. Yeah, Carbon, I was being facetious regarding the whole press-on resistor graphics card scenario. Yeah, apart from the bits that they've knocked off, I can't really see anything. Still crisis, really? Okay, where are you, little parts? Where are you hiding? The other possibility is the person realised they'd made a mistake, cleaned it up, took the parts away, and said, "We can't fix it, we don't know what's wrong with it." I really can't imagine it was Apple that did this, though, because they would at least, well, you would think, have some level of competence regarding they know. Yeah, they've probably got a $500 tool that they use to pull these things apart. Sorry, I left a zero off that $5,000 tool. Because by all means, those parts should still be around here somewhere. Really can't see them. Well, Travis, it's more a case of there's going to have some awareness of the fact that there is a limit on how far they can push those things in. And from what I can imagine from Apple, they would actually have probably a massive robotic tool that grabs the whole thing and then shifts it off. There's no parts in there that I can tell. There's no rattling or crumbs flying anywhere. So I'm guessing, particularly with the chip should be easy to find. So I am guessing that they knew they botched up, they cleared it up, stopped the parts from being in there. Reason being is because if the customer took it home like that, the customer would then say, "Hey, it's rattling. Why is it rattling?" And yeah, then questions would be asked. Uncomfortable questions. Alright. Alright, I think I know what's happened. Alright, I'm gonna have to put an apology in now. I am suspecting that this was a home screen replacement. It is actually. Yes, it is. And what's happened is when they took it off, that's what's caused it. Because now that I'm reading it, after the screen was replaced, all the issues started. So that is what's happened. Oh, and they even say here I gotta learn to read these sheets. Device has accidental damage to the main board, damaged logic board grounding standoff. That we got. Tweeter locking level connector, that was that. And missing IC and traces, that was that. Okay. They didn't hide anything from me. I just didn't read it properly. So in that case, there's no negligence, no skullduggery, no cloak and daggerisms. It was all out in the open and honest. And I was the jerk then, going off as if there was something sinister at hand. Oh. But there wasn't. It was just me being a jerk and not reading the letter that the person had put the time into writing. I only wish they'd sent me the IC though, because I don't remember what that IC is. I don't know if I've got any. Anyway, I'm the jerk. Let's see. What was this? A 291? Or 239? So hopefully if the person does watch this video, they will hear me apologise before they rage quit on me. They'll be like, "I sent you a map of what went wrong." $239, right, thank you. And that is what I have up. So U5860 TMP 461. Where the hell am I going to find a TMP 461 from? Okay, fine. TMP 461. Search. Find a part. 461. Search. Hopefully it's on something like an 840 or... But yeah, I'm guessing not. An 850. Well, guess who doesn't have an 850 board as a donor? I do have more of these similar boards coming in. Mind you, I didn't order any chicken wings. What's the bet that they're only on the chicken wings? Carbon, are they available at element 14 by any chance? 239, surprise, surprise. Yeah, we got troubles. We don't have any spares. Oh, wait, maybe I do. 281. Maybe I do have a spare. I've got a machine that someone kindly donated to me. If I can find it. Where are you, machine? Come on. Come and be the organ donor that you always wanted to be. Ooh. What was your deal? Dead screen. Oh, we got another screen I might be able to repair. Cool. That'll be fun. Everyone's like groaning now, like, oh dear God, no, not another one. Do not want to watch 3 hours of Paul rummaging around on the screen. I think we might be lucky. Lucky, lucky, lucky. Where's the damn board? Oh my God, it stinks. Stinks real bad for some reason. Must be that yogurt culture I didn't clear out. It's late at night, I'm losing my mind. You'll have to forgive me. Is this it? I think, unfortunately, maybe I do not actually have... no, this is a... No. No, this is an 840 board, not a... Thank you, microphone. I greatly appreciate that you just yanked my head down there. So unfortunately it's an 840 board, not one that's on the list of ones that I can use for the part. Hey Yuri. Let's see. Mouse. Yeah, that does look like it. Yep. Let's see. $3 a piece, roughly. Should get about 10 of those. Alright, well... that sucks. Should I, shouldn't I? Just looking at another board that I got here, which I think has... No, not you. No. Unfortunately, the machine I thought I could take it from, even though it's a dead board, it's not my board to take parts from. So I'm not going to be doing that. This can be the bit of the ethical conundrum. Oh, what are you? You're the no apparent fault one that we had. Right. I need to get you back into a slot before you accidentally get cannibalized. Yeah, so I don't actually have a board that I can take apart from, I'm sorry, which is a bit of a shame. So I'll have to just order some parts, get them in, and then do the repair. So that's going to be for a little while later. Another slot taken up. What have we got left? 4273. Actually, let's have a look at this retina screen anyway. Kind of curious to see if this one has a similar problem that we had last night. Oh dear God, no, not a Nell. Hey Nell. Well, we were just about to repair a what is it, 239 board, which has got the spudger damage on it. You know, someone getting a little careless with it by accident. And unfortunately, I do not have a spare part for it. The chip. No, that's a Phillips head pull. And unfortunately, I never thought to order any from you. And I don't have any donor boards. And even the ones I've got coming over from AliExpress at the moment will not have that part. But it seems like Mouser Australia has them, so I'll just have to grab a couple next week. It's a bit of a shame. It would have been nice to get this sorted out. Anyway, let's have a look at this screen then. Yep, I can hear the moaning already. It's funny how you can go for ages without having any viable working screens, and then all of a sudden you start just getting heaps of them. Unless this one's cracked. I don't think it is though. So, Tom, I can get them next day from LN14, so that's why I generally prefer to use them. They're very much my primary supplier of all my parts. It's much easier when you actually know what to expect under a board now. See if we can spot any corrosion under any of these shields. Damn it, come on. Well, it's certainly a lot cleaner than the one we dealt with last night. Well, in this case, this one does not look like it's probably a corrosion job. It's probably something altogether different. Maybe it even works. Who knows? Oh well. I guess I won't meddle with that now. I'll instead deal with the great big fat 1707 that's sitting in the queue looking at me as if I'm ignoring it. So I don't really want to deal with another 1707 right now. Yeah, that'll suffice. 4171. Pretty sure that is the right job. I'm pretty sure the screen is dead as a doornail. Remember, something was wrong with it. I do remember that much. That's how it ended up in my ownership finally, because we just sort of looked at everything and said, well, there's pretty much nothing we can do to fix this and keep it financially viable. A bug. I have a feeling that it was just a case of the screen just glowed green or something. Complete and utter dead. And it wasn't a cable fault at the time, because I did test that. Friday night, the bots are bored. They're coming in for some entertainment. Oh. Oh, you stink. And you've got corrosion everywhere, all around the CPU area. Brilliant. There and 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 there. And you stink. It's not your fault you stink, I know, but you stink. Touch bar liquid damage, more like entire thing is liquid damaged. Who sent this to me? 4273. I gotta find out who sent this to me. (4273). Ah, you. Yep, I know who sent this to me. This is, you know, the other one that we had the other night? Where it was, I opened it up, looked at it, and went, nah, you're screwed. Because it was all covered in pee and everything. Yeah. This one's going to be the same. This one's also going back. This is basically just... I mean, look at that. All around that. That's cactus. And it's had a good burn out there. They're burned. Short it out. I'll be very surprised if it does anything at all. Yeah, it's a bacterial smell or something. It's really unpleasant. It'd be funny if this is actually just a touch bar at fault and nothing else. We've got... It is getting 20 volts. 14, 10... Yeah, it's only doing 100 milliamp. This thing's probably got a dead CPU. 100, 120 milliamp. It's not going anywhere. This is dead. And what are you thinking, El? You're the expert on dead CPUs. It's Like I said, it's not coming up out of 100, 120. So the USB subsection's fine, all these CD3215s, but when it's trying to poke the CPU away, it's like, hey mister, we need to turn on now. It's sort of going, no. Let me press the power button just in case. Nothing. Yeah, that's dead. Very dead. Let's have a look at just. Yeah, I mean, you could probably tolerate corrosion in many other areas of the board, but once you start getting into this zone here, it's an extremely high risk though. It's just you're just going to annul the board with that. And the extensive nature of this particular flooding does not help it. Well, this section here is not dirty, so... Oh wow, the PCH is dead. Yeah, rest in pieces. You are one very dead PCH. I thought it was a speck of dust when I was looking at it from before, but no, that's a dead PCH. Let's see. I feel like Snape when I do this. Reveal your... I can't do Snape. Screw you, Snape. No. I want to see the die. I'm being childish at this point, I do realise. I apologise for anyone who is one of my business clients for my seemingly childish behaviour. But when you get these sort of scenarios, it's best to actually disconnect the battery before you go stabbing a knife into the PCH any more further. You know, just setting it quite as many sparks. Someone's taken my 5. Flux and boil the PCH. Oh yeah, well, let's try that. Okay, now let's try and remove the cranial cap. Yeah, Wayne, that's what I was talking about before, where it's a bit of a ethical issue, whereby, yeah, sure, there's probably a few 461s on this. Check over here. But, oh wait, no, 850, 239, 281. What is this one? 281? Yeah, there will be on this one, but I can't take it. Because this is not my job to take. I can, in this case, confirm that there is indeed a very dead PCH. We have confirmed the PCH is indeed dead. But that's about the limit of what I'm allowed to do. I could try to contact the person and say, look, I need a part off this. And I'll put back a dead one. Oh wait, I don't have one to put back. Nah. That's the problem. If I could put one back, maybe I'll get away with it, but I can't. Anyway, PCH is dead. Well. So that's 2 for 2 dead from that supplier. At least the screen's probably dead on this too. knowing bad luck. I'm not even going to bother to check. I just assume it is bad. The keyboard's certainly going to be wrecked. What did I do with the big screw? It's not on there. Where did I put that big screw? The one for the battery. Wayne, they pay return postage. Or they wait until the next batch of working machines goes back to them. I don't know what I've done with that screw. That's ridiculous. It's got to be on a magnet somewhere. Did I put it down here? No. You can't just lose a big screw like that. It didn't get sucked into the air filter. It's not strong enough to do that. And it's not in there. It's time for me to stand up and see if can the real screw stand up? Oh look, there's oil marks on my pants, damn it. Nope. I don't know where that went. No, I'll just have to get one from another board. I don't know where that went. Next to the toothbrush. No, there's just a bit of trash there. I just took it off. I can understand if it was an iPhone screw. I mean, sure, you're easy enough to lose those things. But that's a pretty decent size head on that. What's the time there? It's crikey, it's midnight. Alright, it's actually time for me to go to bed. It seems, I feel like we've achieved basically nothing tonight. Okay, sure, we found out what the problem was on the other one, and we just don't have any parts for it. So we're kind of back to square one for a couple of weeks, or a couple of days. I suppose I should be happy about that. I guess I am. And yet I'm more concerned about the fact that I've lost track of that big screw. Oh well. Is this where I should be very punny and say, screw it? Well. Can't find it. Ice cream time, I wish. I don't have any ice cream at the moment. There's no room in the freezer for it. So I basically have to go out and buy a bigger freezer. That's clearly the only solution for me. Damn. Come on. Where the heck did that go? It's frustrating because, well, it's just frustrating. I'll run the big magnet on the floor tomorrow. One thing I would really love to do is, if I can get a hold of this property, the carpet in this room is going to get stripped out, and I'm going to put down some decent flooring. I might, I've asked a contractor to quote me. His name's Eugene, and he supposedly did a job for Lewis Rossman, so I thought I'd ask him, see if he can do it for me. He said he's got a special on sloping, creaking floors, so I'll try that. might be able to give me a good price. He says recently left the States to find a new life here in Australia. Something about the fact that we're convict heritage or something. Anyway. Probably stole my screw. Ah dear. You took it off the camera. Yeah, great. Is it on the magnet box? I don't think it is. I mean, look, I'll double check again, but I really don't think it is. See, there's all the little ones for the panel, but yeah, nothing. And container is empty otherwise. What do you know? Maybe I am the real Paul Daniels. It's a magic trick. And true to his favourite statement, I might not like it a lot. Yeah. It's a bit of a dodgy trick if you ask me, losing that. Ha! Such is life. Oh, no one could see the thing, that's okay. Anyway, it's not in there. And I don't like the trick. Check the P machine, that's in the other side of the room. That's in a zippy bag on the other side of the room. Definitely not anywhere there. Okay then, well, time for me to crash and burn. I might go do some programming before I turn in for the night. Thanks everyone for sticking around. So we sort of solved one little problem. And it was a little bit more of a technical sort of issue. It wasn't just a case of being the janitor and cleaning up. We had to track it down and find it. So I suppose I should be happy about that too. As for everything else, well, sometimes you just get duds, don't you? Anyway, you all take care. I'll see you next time. Maybe tomorrow.